It's hot. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kristen, and today we'll be discussing my September TBR. Now, I know last month I said that I was going to create my own TBR game this month because I love those types of videos, and I just love the concept of having a game pick your TBR. But then Becca from Becca The Books dropped her Bookoplathon readathon for September. So I'm gonna participate in that, and then next month, October, I will be creating my own TBR game for sure. Now, if you're not already aware of what Bookoplathon is, it is a TBR game created by Becca from Becca The Books. This game is based on Monopoly. She made her own Monopoly type board, but instead of the different properties on the board, it is different reading prompts that help her pick her TBR every month. I think she is the first TBR game video that I saw, and I know a few other booktubers have their own TBR games, but Becca's was definitely the first one that I saw, and I'm so happy that I'm actually getting the chance to try it out myself. I know that Becca hosted a 48-hour Bookoplathon readathon in July, but I wasn't able to participate in that one. But I have the time. I like month-long readathons. I tend to do better in those anyway than I do in 24, 48, or week-long readathons, so this is coming at the perfect time. So for this month-long readathon, Becca has provided us with this cute digital version of the Bookoplathon board that she made specifically for this readathon so that we can all play it ourselves. We printed out, use your own dice, and make your way across the board. The rules are quite simple. You just roll the dice, move your chip that amount of spaces, and whatever prompt you land on is the prompt that you're going to complete during the month, and you're able to choose how many rolls you want to do. If you know you can read 5 books in a month, then you can do 5 rolls, and etc, etc. The only rule really is that if you roll a double, you have to add an extra roll onto your game. I'm going to be doing 4 rolls because I know that I can read at least 4 books in a month, and we'll see if I get any doubles to add any more books to my list. Along with Bookoplathon occurring in September, I have an exciting announcement to make. I will be co-hosting the Poppy War Readalong with some other amazing booktubers. We will be reading the Poppy War in September, the Dragon Republic in October, and The Burning God in November, as that is its release month. I will link all of the other wonderful co-hosts in my description. We will also be having live shows, of course, for each of the books. The live show for the Poppy War will be October 11th. The live show for the Dragon Republic will be November 15th. And the live show for the Burning God will be December 13th. So it gives everybody at least a month to read The Burning God after its release date in time for our live show. We do not have any solidified times yet on these days, so keep a lookout. Follow all of us on Twitter. I will be linking our Twitters and our booktube channels in the comments below. So not only subscribe and follow everyone who is co-hosting this read along with me, but also check them out on Twitter too so that you can know when our live show times will be. And as many times as I've put the Poppy War on my TBR these past couple of months, I still haven't read it. So I literally have to read it this month or I'm a terrible co-host. So it's definitely getting read this month. Hopefully it'll make it onto my Bookoplathon TBR so that I don't have to read an extra book, but we'll see. Without further ado, let's get right into these rolls for the Bookoplathon readathon to see what books I shall be reading this month. Wish me luck. Roll 1. 8 and a double. 5, 6, 7, 8. So for roll 1, I landed on foiled cover, and for that I will be picking up Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I'm really excited about this one because I recently asked for dark academia recommendations on my Twitter account, and Mick from Mickless writes, Ninth House was on her list among others that I will definitely be getting to soon. But as I already own Ninth House, I thought that I would just try and fit this into my September TBR, and I'm so happy that it works But anyways, as you can definitely see, this snake on the book cover is definitely metallic, and so I will be reading Ninth House for my first roll, which was foiled cover. Ninth House follows Alex Stern, who has dropped out of school early and entered the world of drug dealer boyfriends, dead-end jobs, and much, much more. By the age of 20, she is the sole survivor of a homicide. And as she is on her hospital bed, she is given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to attend Yale, one of the world's most elite universities, on a full ride. Of course, she accepts this offer and arrives at Yale with the task to monitor some of Yale's secret societies. Alex soon learns that these secret societies have lots of dark secrets, mysterious things going on within these societies. She is definitely in for a ride. Leigh Bardugo is also the author of the Six of Crows duology. I have read Six of Crows, but I've yet to read Crooked Kingdom. I'm really bad at reading like second installments of a series. I really enjoyed Six of Crows, so I have high hopes that Leigh Bardugo is going to do a great job with Ninth House, and I've also heard a lot of good things about Ninth House, so I'm excited. Roll 2. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Community shelf. So for roll 2, I landed on a community shelf space, and the prompt that I picked up on the card is to read a book by an Indigenous author. Looking at my reading stats for the year of 2020 so far, I have not read any books by Indigenous authors this year, and that's something that I want to do. I'm trying to diversify my reading in terms of authors of color mainly, because growing up I read a lot of books by white authors, which is not really surprising given the lack of spotlight that is given to authors of color even today. Yes, it's getting better, but definitely when I was younger it was not really a thing, nor was I really, I guess, looking for it. So now that I'm more educated, I'm more aware of different genres of books by different types of people, I want to read books by everyone. I'm really happy that I pulled this community shelf prompt up. I will be reading The Morrow Thieves. This is a science fiction dystopian young adult novel set in a futuristic world that is ravaged by global warming. In this world, people have lost the ability to dream, and the dreamlessness has led to madness. The only people still able to dream are North America's indigenous people, and this is because they have a special marrow that can cure the world. But unfortunately, getting this marrow leads to death of the donor. So we follow a 15-year-old and his companions who have this special marrow. They're trying to escape the recruiters who are trying to take their marrow because they, of course, do not want to die. I love a good science fiction. I love a good dystopian. They're talking about bone marrow, which, given that I'm a science type person, that I have studied. So I'm interested to see how this concept is going to be incorporated into the book. And now, time for roll number 3. Roll 3. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Own Voices. Roll number 3, I landed on an Own Voices space, and for that, I'm fitting it in The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And again, I'm definitely going to read this book because 1, I have to, 2, I really want to, and 3, because it's time for me to get serious and read this book. I've talked about The Poppy War a few times on my channel, but to give a quick summary of the book for another time, we're following Rin, who is a dark-skinned peasant girl who is accepted to an elite military school to everybody's shock. While at the school, she discovers that she possesses a very lethal power. With this power, she goes to war, or there's war involved. A lot of the plot, a lot of the politics are inspired by China, and the war in this book is based on the Second Sino-Japanese War. This is definitely a grimdark fantasy novel, so proceed with caution if you choose to read this. A lot of trigger warnings, including self-harm, drug abuse, substance addiction, racism, misogyny, genocide, bullying, abandonment, abuse, animal death. There are a lot of trigger warnings in this book, so again, proceed with caution if you do choose to pick this one up. But again, I will be co-hosting a read-along with a lot of amazing booktubers in September through November. And Poppy War, if you would like to join us, please read Poppy War with us this month. Even if you have already read it, this will be a great time to start your reread in preparation for Burning God in November. Join us on the live shows. Let's have a nice conversation about this book. and I'm ready to have my heart pulled out. R.F. Kuang is a Chinese American author, and this book is, like I said before, based on politics and such from China, so this is considered an Own Voices novel. Now for roll 4. Roll 4. 12 and another double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Big book. So for roll 4, I landed on a big book space and I wrote a double. By the way, roll 1 was a double as well. So instead of this being my last book, roll 4, I am adding at least 2 more rolls. Hopefully it's just 2 more rolls, because anything over 6, I don't know if I can do. But roll 4, big book, and for that I'm choosing The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, which is a bit over 500 pages. And I'm happy that this one made it into my September TBR, because I'm a Patreon for Chloe's channel over at Books with Chloe, and this is her September pick for her book club. So I'm excited that I get to participate. This is another book / series that has been popular on book Twitter lately, and I have fallen victim of that because now I want to read it, so I went and bought it. City of Brass is the first book in the David Bad trilogy, so here I go again, starting a series when I have so many series that I need to finish. But that's besides the point, because I'm gonna start it. This story follows Nari. I think that's how you say her name. Nari. She's a con woman from Cairo. She discovers her true heritage as the lone descendant of some powerful beings. And so it's just like her dealing with this discovery and probably going on some huge adventure with this newfound magic or power, whatever it is. The synopsis is pretty complex, so that's the basics, I think, of what I could gather from the synopsis. But for now, that's all I've got for y'all. So now for roll 5. Roll 5. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another community shelf. For roll 5, I landed on another community shelf prompt. And for that, I picked up read a book you really want to read this month. I put this in because I ran out of other prompts to fill out the community shelf cards, and I didn't really think that I was going to pull this one, but I did. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's a good prompt because I get to read a book that I really want to read. And so for that one, I'm going to be reading An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This is, again, another popular series that has emerged from book Twitter recently, because I think the last installment of the series is coming out soon. So a lot of people are doing a reread or reading for the first time in preparation for the release of the last book. So again, I'm hopping on the bandwagon and reading An Ember in the Ashes. My homegirl from Brains and Books, Deja, she is hosting a read-along for this series starting this month in September. So I wanted to join that read-along to get me motivated and amped up to read this series with them. So here I go, reading another series. So this one follows Leia and Elias. Leia is a slave, Elias is a soldier, and neither one of them are free. They are both under the Marshall Empire, and any defiance is met with death. Leia and Elias stay in their lane, but one day Leia's brother is arrested for treason. Leia will do anything she can to get her brother back, so she agrees to be a spy for some rebels within the Empire's greatest military academy, and this is where she meets Elias, and they realize that their destinies are entwined and they have an adventure together. Honestly, I think October needs to be dedicated to me reading sequels in series. This is getting out of hand. It's last roll, hopefully. Roll 6. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. POC rep. So my last roll, and I'm very happy to say it's my last roll because I did not roll another double. For roll 6, I landed on POC rep, and for that, I am going to be reading Jade City by Fonda Lee. I am planning on purchasing that book quite soon, even if I was going to read it or not, so I'm very happy that this is fitting into my TBR, so then I have a reason to read it sooner than later. I sound like a broken record at this point, but again, this is a popular book in the booktube, book Twitter world, and it's another series, so All of the books I'm reading this month are the first book in a series besides The Morrow Thieves. So yeah, I think, you know, October or definitely November, depending on if I want to read like spooky books in October, but definitely November, I need to be reading sequels only, because this is getting out of hand and I need to do something about it. I will be reading Jade City, the first book in the Greenbone saga. Jade City follows two families who are rivals of each other and control the island of Kekan. This is the only place in the world that produces a rare magical jade that grants superhuman abilities. And so these two families are head in head with each other. These tensions clash, a big war or something occurs between these two families. I also have heard that Jade City is going to be adapted into a movie or a TV show, one of the two, either a movie or a TV show, not sure, but it's gonna be adapted, and we all know that you gotta read the book before the adaptation, so this is perfect timing. So that concludes the 6 books that I will be reading for the Bookoplathon this month, hosted again by Becca from Becca The Books. I had a load of fun doing this type of TBR, playing my first TBR game. I can understand why Becca and other booktubers have created their own TBR games to play every month. It keeps it interesting, it keeps it fun, and I will be doing my own very soon. Now, there is one more book that I will be adding to my TBR for the month to complete at some point, and that is The Butterfly Garden by Dotch Hutchinson that I will be reading along with my friends from the Brains in the Book group. We have decided that every month or every once in a while we want to pick a genre of book that we all read. For this month, September, we have picked a thriller type because not many of us have read thrillers in the past, and that's a genre that we want to get more into. So we have chosen The Butterfly Garden as our pick, and we will each be vlogging our experience reading it during the first week of September, supposedly. So stay tuned for that. I'll link all of the Brains and Books YouTube channels below so you can make sure not to miss out on all of our reading vlogs that will be coming at you soon. Basically, we follow a man who is known as the gardener, who lives in an isolated mansion with a beautiful garden. But in this garden are butterflies, which are women who have been kidnapped. This garden is eventually discovered, the gardener is taken into jail, and one of the survivors is questioned by the FBI. And so we're trying to piece together and learn what has been happening in this butterfly garden. That is definitely the end of my TBR for September. I cannot add anything else into my TBR or else I won't finish these lovely 7 books that I have planned. Again, besides The Butterfly Garden and The Morrow Thieves, I will be reading all fantasy, reading first books in series. I think I'm gonna have a great time. I'm really looking forward to this reading month. It sounds like it's gonna be a great one. Reminder again to join me and my other co-host in our Poppy War Readalong. We will be reading the Poppy War, the first book this month. Live show will be in October. Follow us on Twitter to get updated information of what time these live shows will be taking place. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Wish me luck on my TBR. If you liked this video, please give it a big like, comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, as well as subscribe to all the wonderful people linked in my description box. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!